Well, hello and long time no see. I know it has been a while here. I hope that you have had a good start to 2025. Today I had basically two orders of business that I wanted to talk about really quickly. One is that we typically run a pre-season grass seed sale, and I have just started that today. So if you would like to get in on that for the next couple weeks here, we usually do our best deal of the year somewhere around here just to get people back in the swing of things and get you a good deal there getting started for the spring season. So all the details for that will be down in the description. Second thing I wanted to talk about today was dormant seeding or frost seeding, depending on what you call it. Some people call it that, some people call it dormant seeding. But it's been an interesting winter here, and I say winter with quotes around it because we have not had much winter until a couple days ago. We've had cold temperatures and the typical thing that goes along with that. But up until that point, we had no snow cover, nothing going on, so everything was extremely brown. By far the brownest that I have ever really seen it into this part of the winter season. We had a few days where the wind chills hit 30 below in January, no snow cover of any kind, and so time will tell if there's any kind of damage from that extreme cold and windy conditions that we have, dry conditions that can cause some desiccation and some actual die off of the grass just because of not really having that snow blanket on top of everything when it got to the coldest part of the winter. We have another really cold stretch coming here this next week, but we do have snow cover right now for the most part, so that should help out with that part. But I've been waiting all the season for that snow cover to come so that I could do some dormant seeding on just a few kind of key areas that are just sitting here with bare soil right now. One of them is out on the back 9 fairway area. There's just kind of a path, I would say, on the right side of there that my wife likes to walk our dogs. Knowing what's coming here in the spring season and that will be nothing but mud, it's one area that I did want to get some seed down on just to see if I could get anything started there ground cover wise as quickly as possible into the spring season. And then another one is just on the side of the front fairway. This area is one that was just full of lots of different weeds. I had to spray it multiple times last year and try to keep up with it, knowing that I wanted to get some seed on it as quickly as possible again so that I can hopefully get some sort of ground cover going there right away in the springtime and not wait until spring seeding. We've talked about all of these things before. You can go back and see quite a few videos I've done on spring seeding. Last year I did a spring seeding in multiple locations. Everything turned out really well, but it really depends on a lot of factors in terms of how your weather goes, and that's why it can be difficult in the spring. Sometimes it's really wet and you just can't get out there and do a lot of work, and other times you just might not get any moisture at all and you can't control irrigation, and temperatures might fluctuate a lot. There's a lot of variables that go into it. Lots of stuff in the previous catalog about all that spring seeding stuff, but dormant seeding is essentially just putting that seed out on the ground, letting the freeze and thaw cycles actually take it into the ground and sort of plant the seed for you, if you will. So I didn't do anything with this to drag this in, to cover it with anything. I was waiting for that snowfall to use that as a blanket on top of the seed, basically just because it's extremely windy here. So if I was going to throw all the seed out here just on top of the soil and then let these winds come that are expected today, actually supposed to be 40-mile-per-hour wind later today, then all that seed is just sitting up there on frozen ground and it's all going to blow away. So I was waiting for that snow to be the natural cover for it, and then as soon as the ground temperature is warm enough that we could get germination, the seed is already there, and basically Mother Nature takes care of things at that point. I'm not having to decide, okay, is the soil temperature warm enough for me to get germination? When should I be planting this? It's just going to already be there on the ground, and it's going to hopefully have good germination at that point. Now, this is always a gamble because you just don't know what that weather is going to be like in the spring. You might get some good germination, you might have some weeks where it warms up, then all of a sudden you get another really hard freeze maybe after you had germination, and then you might lose the seed, or it just might not turn out the way that you want. So this is really up to your comfort level on what you want to do with it, or you can obviously just try to wait to get into the spring season and do it in a more traditional way at that point. But as I said, I had two areas here, bare soil just sitting there, that I would love to get the biggest head start possible on those areas and hopefully get them going right away in the springtime. And so that's why I did what I did. On the back 9 fairway section there, I planted with a bluegrass, ryegrass mix. I'm going to see how that looks and see how it hopefully comes up so I can get a better look at what I think about that for the rest of that area, or if I want to make any adjustments there. Then the front side here got a fine fescue mix. It's going to be more of a native area and more of a native of look. So I'm planning to only mow this maybe a couple times a season and then just let it be what it's going to be as a natural border there to the front fairway. So not a lot of huge areas here. I felt comfortable gambling on that so that if none of this comes up in the spring, I have to redo everything. It wasn't a huge undertaking. But the nice part about it is it's fairly limited prep here. I just had to drag this back area once. There was just a little bit of silty soil up on top, so I wanted to smooth that out. And then that front section here on the front fairway, I had already done all of the prep work in the fall, so that was pretty much ready to go. So time will tell on how this all turns out. Time will tell on the rest of what happened this winter. I know that there was an extreme amount of deer damage on the back 9 green. We're just gonna have to see what happens with that. It seems to be a major trail or walkway for the existing deer that are here. So maybe it's gonna work and maybe it's gonna be a location that is not very great long term, but we'll figure that out. Front green is looking really, really nice. Put some sand on it right before the winter season to try to help protect the crown. But as I said, we have not had any snow cover up until a couple days ago. So bent grass can be susceptible to that desiccation and the winter damage. We'll just figure out what happens here as it starts to warm up. That is what I've been up to here this week. Don't miss out on that grass seed sale. And thanks so much for watching today. We'll see you next time.